guys, now I'm going to give you a really tough one. Okay. We're going to play a game called Pick a Side. Right. And this is going to put Leo in a very difficult predicament.
Star Wars.
So, because here's maybe not be so difficult for Dean, but we're going to find out. All we're going to have to do, really. Okay. If you have essentially a gun to your head and someone says, all right, you can only collect Hot Toys Marvel or Hot Toys Star Wars. You cannot have both. You cannot mix and have a little bit of both. You can only have one. You got to give up the other one forever, right? So I want to ask the question, and I want to start with Lael because I want to see where he's going to go. And I think I have an idea, but Lael, you got to give up one: Hot Toys or Star Wars or Marvel. What are you taking? What are you giving up?
Star Wars. I'm keeping Star Wars all day.
I knew it, bro. I knew it.
All day. That's a no-brainer.
Right, tell me why.
Well, I mean, because it's legendary, bro, and it has some of the most iconic figures for me. And the thing is, the reason why I say it's easier for me, because when we saw Star Wars, the first time we actually witnessed Star Wars was on the silver screen, on theater, in the movies. So basically we are directly connected to the characters and the actors who portray these characters because of what we see. Even like the iterations that we get in the comics are based on what we saw on camera. Luke Skywalker in the books will look like Mark Hamill, depending on who's drawing it, Han Solo, Leia, so on. So it's easy for me to connect to that because, again, I'm good with that. I love it. Star Wars for me has always been a pillar. For me, it's a staple, for me, again, as a collector, as someone who loves film, Star Wars will always be number one for me. Marvel, I can give that up because I collect comics. That's where my heart's at. So it's easy for me to give that up. I'm not directly connected to the actor. I'm connected to the character. So it's easy for me to separate. So I really don't, it's easy for me to say that. I mean, there's so many times that I even thought about, I'll just give it up. I'll just get rid of it because I think, for Marvel, for me, it's just too convoluted with so much stuff that's actually going on right now. They, could capitalize on making comic accurate versions of those, like a comic version of each character. I'm pretty sure people would buy it if they did it. It's so much money in that, and they're just missing it. You know what I mean? And, again, like I said, there's too many headaches with that. So I would, just to kind of lessen it for me, Star Wars, it would just be that all day for me, and I'm good.
That makes sense, bro. Absolutely makes sense. This would be really tough for me, but I want to hear Carlos's thoughts. Carlos, I know you're going to pick one side. Fill us in, bro.
I mean, for me, it would easily be Marvel. And I think for the, unless you're like an old, OT fan or anything like that, I want to make sure that it's clear that right at Endgame, right during that time, and right after the sequels, if you would have asked this question, probably a lot of people who will be picking Star Wars would have probably been picking Marvel. Because if not for The Mandalorian, Star Wars wouldn't be anywhere right now. And that's the truth. That's not even like, me just hating on Star Wars, because that's just the reality. So Marvel, easily Marvel. Star Wars is, it's good. I'm not saying it's not, but it got a lot of fans because of The Mandalorian. I think if you take out The Mandalorian, then where Star Wars was after the sequels, it wasn't a very good place, and where Endgame was, right after obviously Endgame. So, I'm still on that side of things. So for me, it's going to be Marvel all day. And it's not even close. Star Wars is cool. Don't get me wrong. But, the prequels wasn't the biggest fan of. I just thought Kenobi was probably the only good thing. The sequels weren't that good. And the only thing about good LT was, in my opinion, was New Hope and Empire. But that was a really long time ago. You know what I mean? So for me, it's not even close. It's Marvel all day. So
and this is before I jump to Dean on this one. Just thinking about how I would answer this, I'm having to look at my Marvel figures and Star Wars figures. Dude, that's so tough, man, because I feel like I have a pretty even split of both. I don't know, man. It's a real toss-up. I'd probably have to go Marvel. But it's, dude, I'm like a real 50-50 type collector. Like I have literally probably 50-50 of both. So, but I'd probably go Marvel just because Infinity War is my favorite film ever. I love The Force Awakens, but Infinity War is my favorite film. So to give up those figures and give up Avengers 1 and stuff like that, I know Dean's going to be upset with me about A Force Awakens. But Dean, fill me in, bro, on your side. Are you kind of, straddling the fence like me, or are you going to pick one side here?
Bro, gun to my head.
Oh shit!
I'm
Demonetized, baby.
Yeah. No. So yeah, easy for me. It'd be Star Wars. I'm keeping Star Wars.
Okay, so we're 2 and 2 then. Okay.
Yeah. I didn't really get into Marvel a ton until the movies came out. I've always been into Star Wars. I think the only character I've really followed Marvel like all the time was Spider-Man. And then when his movies came out, it was even better. So yeah, it's really easy for me to be like, okay, I'll give up Marvel because I don't have that huge attachment to it like I do with Star Wars. So
Okay, so Star Wars, you just have more of an emotional connection to.
yeah.
Okay. Well, what about if I ask you guys as far as figures go, do you feel like Marvel or Star Wars has better figures than the other?
Oof, that's tough.
I mean, because that's
Marvel.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Because one thing I would say, Carlos, Marvel has more colorful figures.
Well,
but
what do you mean
Star
by better
Wars, I don't
figures?
know.
Like,
And like
'cause,
the
I mean,
accessories.
I mean, figures that more so pop on your shelf that you think people that you would want to look at, and
Marvel.
also that other people.
I mean,
would
you
look at.
have a Hulkbuster. You don't even have like
Doctor Strange by himself is.
But Marvel, I mean, but Star Wars has
Iron
like
Man
the
and like
ATRTs
diecast
and
figures.
stuff, and and stuff like that. You
That's
know?
Clone Wars though. Like I guess that's Star Wars, but that's just. I mean,
Yeah,
for all we
and
know, that thing's a big
speeders.
old. Those are cheap and pieces of plastic though. They're all like
Yeah, but they're still
They're-
cool.
they're-
They look cool.
they're junk, literally. Like, you know, so
Why is
I mean,
he
they are.
here?
You own them, right, Dean? Dean, do you own the speeders?
No, I don't have any speeders.
All right, then there you go. So I own the speeders. They're junk. They're
But I
junk.
also don't have a Hulkbuster.
Yeah, I don't.
I mean,
either,
I have
'cause
a
the thing's so
Hulkbuster.
expensive.
I have a Hulkbuster. I've had every speeder, and every speeder. Is
No,
Star
but
Wars.
yeah, 100%. I think Marvel pops on the shelf better.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
Just more colorful.
Spider-Man by himself is more colorful
Bro,
than.
you have like Spider-Man figures and like, with the Gracie head sculpts, and you have diecast Iron Man. Like figure-wise, you have to say Marvel. Like,
Yeah, accessories too. Like even like the
Yeah,
Infinity
yeah.
War Star-Lord has all those little Doctor Strange floaty bits, and
Yeah.
Captain Marvel has like flame effects and stuff like that. Like Star Wars is like some lightning effects, maybe. Like
yeah.
Well, you got like
And the only
jetpacks
thing-
for Mando and Boba and stuff. I mean,
yeah.
They're
What
not
do you
even
think, Leo?
diecast though. Like,
What you say?
what do you think about? Would you prefer like if you're just judging Star Wars and Marvel figures, like the quality of the figures? Would you say one
Right.
has an edge over the other?
I'm still sticking with Star Wars.
Still Star Wars.
Yeah, I'm still sticking with Star Wars clearly because of aesthetics. For me, it's more based on the universe. I mean, I don't really need to have. I mean, what's worth having all the accessories that pop when they break just as easily? You know what I mean? So it really doesn't really
Yeah.
matter to me. Accessories don't really matter to me, to be quite honest, bro, because I don't use half of them.
Yeah,
You know what I
me
mean? I'm just more excited about the figure, how it looks in my display, what completes my display, what more so completes nostalgia. I have more nostalgia towards Star Wars than I would for Marvel because again, I don't really have a connection to the actors at all. You know what I mean? As opposed to what I would from Star Wars because we grew up with these individuals. So it really, to me, it doesn't matter. I would still, again, stick with Star Wars through and through. You know what I mean? If I had to get rid of the Marvel tomorrow, that'd be easy. It'd be an easy choice. You know what I mean? I'd say, okay, cool. More space. You know what I mean? I have more space,
More space,
to
yeah.
deal with.
That's
You
always
know,
good.
even though it's not to say that Marvel isn't iconic and it doesn't have some beautiful pieces because it does. It's just that for me, I prefer, Star Wars. So
Yeah.
that's where I'm at.
Makes sense. Well, guys, let's wrap discussion on that one. Great thoughts.